Welcome, dear friends, to a very special tarot reading on the 31st of October. Wonderful friends, thank you so much for joining me. I am thrilled to be doing this reading on a day which is traditionally, in Celtic traditions, pagan traditions, actually it represents the beginning of a new year. Now, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, you may be celebrating Beltane. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, we are celebrating Samhain, which is effectively, sometimes people think of it as Halloween. Halloween is a kind of a festival that came, or a tradition that came from Samhain. Samhain is actually a festival of the dead. And it's interesting, I was really drawn to three archangels to guide us in each of the three readings. I'll speak about those in a minute because there is very specific guidance coming from each one. We have crow feathers here. Crows are said to be able to journey between the worlds. And at these sort of earth festivals, it really is as if the earth herself pauses for breath. You can really feel the energy slow down. You know, when we talk about, you hear that phrase, the veil is thin. It's actually, Samhain traditionally is the time of the year, the festival of the year, when the veil is perhaps the most thin if we are wishing to connect with our ancestors and we are wishing to connect with the dead. It's a time of celebrating the lives of those that we've lost during the year and connecting with our ancestors for guidance. So it's a festival of fire. We have a lot of candles here. We have the crow feathers because crows can journey between the worlds. I also have some Apache tears here. For those of you that don't know about these incredible stones, there's a legend. These are actually black obsidian. They're known as Apache tears. And the legend that comes with them is that a tribe of Native Americans were being pursued, and rather than be captured and sort of, they knew they would die anyway, they threw themselves off a cliff, and their women folk went to that cliff afterwards and wept, and it's said that as their tears fell, they formed these black Apache tears. What for me is fascinating, they are full of faces. I find them just extraordinary. Every which way I look, I can see faces. Depending on whichever way up I look at the stone, I see more faces. There just are faces upon faces upon faces on different angles. It's quite extraordinary. Anyway, I'm going to put those down. They're very special stones. Oh, I nearly burnt myself on the candle. Please be careful, this is a festival of fire. Don't set light to anything. By all means, light candles, because it is, you know, they bring a lot of light into your ceremonies. But yes, be careful. So let's tune in to the additional guidance that came through from Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Raphael, and Archangel Michael. And wonderful friends, if already just through tuning in with these three cards, which are literally coming as additional guidance for the readings, if you already know which of the readings you want to tune into, I will put in the comments and in the information box below the timestamps, so you can literally fast forward to those readings if you want to. Some people like to sit and listen to the extra guidance, and some people also like to sit with me while I draw the cards and the runes for the actual reading, but it's entirely up to you. So, Archangel Gabriel. Reading number one, we also have a little golden quartz angel sitting here. Archangel Gabriel, Gabriel's name in Hebrew literally means God is my strength. Now, he is said to be the archangel of revelations, of inspiration, of communication. So he tunes in, and the guidance we may receive in reading number one may connect to your calling, your purpose, finding your voice. If you are expressing your feelings, if you're seeking clarity of direction, reading number one may well tune in to that area of your world. Reading number two, we have the energy of Archangel Raphael with a clear quartz angel. Now, Archangel Raphael is an angel of healing. He brings, he not only brings healing, but he restores things. So The kind of things that I would expect we may tune in with in reading number 2 might be, I mean, sometimes it can be reuniting us with someone. Sometimes it can be the renewal of a lost dream, the healing of a situation, the healing of a relationship, the healing of physical wounds and physical health, the healing of emotional wounds, sometimes the healing of a broken heart. So that's the kind of energy of reading number 2. Reading number 3, we have the incredible empowerment, courage, strength of Archangel Michael with a little amethyst angel. Amethyst, Archangel Michael is associated with the crystal amethyst and with which is known as a master crystal. He's also associated with the colour purple. So Archangel Michael is about, I mean, he really brings divine power. He brings courage, he brings increasing empowerment, initiative, action, the drive, the courage, the perseverance to actually take the steps we need to take in whatever area of our lives we are needing that support. So strength, support, direction, initiative, yeah, just a real sense of courage and empowerment. Literally the energy, if you drew this particular card, and I was drawn to them in my preparation and knew that I would be using them to help us to bring this additional guidance to the readings. But if I drew an Archangel Michael card, I would know that we were being brought the courage, the inspiration, the strength to persevere, to overcome procrastination. Very, very powerful. It's a real moving mountains kind of card. So that's the energy of Archangel Michael. And all of these readings are coming in the incredible moment on the day where kind of almost time begins to stand still. The veil is thin. Our ancestors are there and ready and waiting to receive us, to offer us guidance, to walk alongside us, often to show themselves. So be prepared as well during this time. Be open and aware of signs and signals. You know, be acutely aware of things that may be shown to you during this time. So, wonderful friends, let's draw some cards and then we will sit with our intuition and see which readings we're guided to. You may already, as I said, know, in which case you can fast forward. So we're going to use the Light Seers Tarot first. Oops, okay. Now this is a reading, so if that was a private reading or a reading for a particular sign, well, cards are flying out. I would be using them, but I won't use them if you can see them, because that is not where we're at for a pick a card reading. We'll use 3 from this pack. Okay, we're then going to draw upon some more Archangel cards. Just 1 from this pack. We'll draw from the Art of Manifestation Oracle cards. Here I am placing them really carefully, but actually we're going to run out of room. It's going to be 3 from this pack today. And lastly, we are going to use some animal spirit guides. Again, just 1. Okay. And we're also going to draw runes. Now, what I'm going to do with the runes today is something slightly different. I'm really hearing that we need to, most of the time I will draw the runes from the bag and I will put them out for each of the readings. Sometimes what I hear is that I need to draw them for each individual reading. What tends to happen then is that the same rune is going to be called into more than one reading, and therefore we need to draw from the whole set of runes for every reading. So that's what we're going to do. So wonderful friends, press the pause button if you need to take some time to tune in with these readings and see which one or ones are calling to you. Sometimes it's more than one. Thank you guys as well so much for your beautiful, wonderful comments, your love, your support of me, of one another. I know that there's been a few weeks when I've been missing comments just because there's been a lot of family stuff going on in my world, but thank you, because I've just started being able to have the time to check back in and respond to you all. So I really appreciate just what an extraordinary energy you guys bring to this online community. So thank you so much. Just huge gratitude and appreciation to all of you. You are amazing. Wonderful friends. I will leave you to tune in with whichever reading is speaking to you, and I will see you in a few moments. Welcome to reading number 1 with the wonderful energy of Archangel Gabriel. So we know Gabriel means God is my strength. He's an angel of revelation, of communication, inspiration, finding your voice. And we have this beautiful golden quartz angel really bringing an incredible energy actually into this reading. So we're going to look at the cards that we have and also draw some runes. Okay, so our first card is the Star. This is renewed hope, renewed optimism. 8 of Swords. You're ready to see something as it is. And this is a card of romance, Knight of Cups. This is really interesting because, you need to say something. You need to be able to find your expression, okay? There's something really powerful here. So we have Swan, the card of Swan, Grace. Now, this card says, you who glides across the waters of my soul, bring me your wisdom and light. Help me transform into elegance and grace. Inspire me with dignity and the spirit of beauty. It's a very powerful card to have here. We then have expectation, learn to say no and believe in yourself, and a card of clairvoyance. Okay. We also have the runes to draw as well, which I'm going to do now. Okay, we have the rune of journey. We have the rune of constraint and openings. Okay, now openings is first. We have the rune of journey, the rune of openings, and then the rune of constraint. It's really clear, the message here actually. Sometimes the rune of constraint literally does mean there's a constraint around you. It can even indicate the need to break free from something. But it also says, you know, when fishermen can't go to sea, they mend their nets. You need to see something clearly. You need to pay attention to the detail as well. Cross the T's, dot the I's. Now, everything here is suggesting renewed hope, renewed opportunity, particularly in your love life. Whether you're in an existing relationship or you're searching for love, there's definitely an opening here for the energy of relationship, the energy of love is around you. I'd venture to say, be prepared to be swept off your feet. Or if you have seen someone that you really like, it may be you're needing to find your voice and overcome your fears of reaching out and saying something to that person. It may be that they are going to overcome their fears of speaking, and they're going to come forward and talk to you. They're going to open that pathway. If you're in an existing relationship, I would say you're really ready to voice something that hasn't been said before. These two cards are fascinating here because the card of expectation is a card. So I'll read what it says and then we'll dive into the meaning here. Expectation is a form of memory. Our past experiences colour our expectations of future circumstances and outcomes. You are asked to release any form of negative expectations based on past experiences and centre yourself in the infinite possibility of now. What I'm actually being shown is the rune of journey. You're on a journey. Some of you may actually travel. You may be about to travel. You may be about to move somewhere, but the biggest move forwards here is to do with love and relationship. It's to do with your attitude to relationship and your expectations of what is possible within relationship. Some of you have not previously been able to have a voice. You just haven't been. Interestingly enough, you've kind of slightly tied yourself in knots. Now, the origins of this go back. They go back to childhood. It's almost like this is the connection to the ancestors coming through and speaking. Gosh, really clearly. I feel like I'm being faced with, I want to say, an army of ancestors, but you know, for those of you, again, clairvoyance, I'm helping your spiritual sight to awaken fully so you can clearly see heavenly love. I'm seeing, like, it feels like an army of ancestors sort of saying, look, we are now in a time of change. It's like that they're holding their hands out, they're offering you the gift of their support in doing it differently. That's what I'm being shown here. You don't have to do it the same way. The previous expectations that were held in previous generations that now limit and hold you back are no longer relevant to you. And it is to do, very strongly to do with relationships with love. Allow yourself to receive love. Allow yourself to give love. Whatever has been holding you back, and whichever side of the coin you're sitting, whether it's opening yourself to receiving love or it's allowing yourself to feel safe in giving love, there is opportunity here. But it needs also to be boundaried and rooted in self-esteem. Okay? You've had experiences in the past, including almost like this inherited package of stuff that's come down the generations that has sort of limited your belief in yourself ultimately. Now, learn to say no. This card is very powerful. Saying no is an act of love. When we say a healthy no to an abusive situation, whether this is in response to another person or to ourselves, we are setting limits and establishing healthy boundaries. A healthy no is saying yes to life. Give yourself permission to say no. Now, whether this is no to you, it actually may also be no to some of the family patterns that have held you back, saying no to those family expectations that assume that you should carry a particular role or wear a particular hat, or you're not worthy of receiving. For some of you, there's been some really powerful, subtle stuff. You know, the subtle below the belt stuff that's kind of implied, and it comes kind of, some of you have been really guilt tripped over stuff, to be quite honest. That's what I'm really feeling. It's time to let go of that stuff and put it behind you. Expectations are, it's really interesting because we carry them within us. You know, if I'm going to give what might seem like a silly example, but it's come to mind. You know, if I went to the post office this morning to post some parcels, and you know, it was a 1 in a billion time when, you know, somehow, I don't know, there was an armed robbery and the post office was held at gunpoint. Now, I guarantee the next time I go to post a letter, I'm going to be terrified. I'm probably going to have anxiety. I'm going to think that it could happen again, even though I know it's a 1 in a billion chance, and that was a really rare thing to happen. It will still leave its residue with me, and that's quite a powerful thing that I'm talking about. There are so many residues that we're left with, okay, that come to us from the past. And this is really saying it's time to believe in yourself. You are important, you are lovable, you are special, you are a unique and extraordinary person. Wherever you've come from, whatever has happened to you in the past, it is time to let go of any negative perceptions that you may carry about yourself. Literally, this is this 8 of Swords here. You're being asked to kind of look in the mirror, and if I hold this card up for you really to have a close look at, it's time to look in the mirror and see how you are now tangling yourself up in those perceptions. You know, they were imposed upon you previously. Now it's time to shake them off, throw them off, see them clearly. Now this is perfect timing as well. If we look at the 13 moon cycles, I was really drawn to have 13 candles representing the 13 moons of the year. And in next year's Art of Manifestation Astro-Moon journal, I've talked a lot about In fact, I've written about the 13 moon cycles rather than the 12 months of the year. In the diary, we look at the 12 months. In the journal, we look at the 13 moons. And the moon that we are in, the tribal moon, weaves the web. And what we're shown during this month, during this 10th moon cycle rather, and the 10th moon is weaves the web here in October. This 10th moon cycle, she shows us what we're shown is we're constantly in a space where it's revealed to us through circumstances and our environments, kind of almost like the web that we are weaving. So there's loads of creative opportunities to shift and do things differently. There's loads of creative opportunity to continue if we feel we're on course. But actually, if we are also still weaving the web of things that bind us and tie us and hold us back, we are shown them through circumstances. So really, really powerful time of shift and opportunity for you to see and move forwards. This is the rune of openings. So the rune of journey speaks, it can mean some of you will be journeying, and indeed as you journey, as you travel, you'll be shown things, so pay attention to the signs. However, it sometimes means journeying within, and at this pivotal time of shift in the energy, journeying within, meditating, becoming an observer of what you're shown, because the veil is thin, looking at the aspects of your world that you no longer have to carry, removing the obstacles from within so your pathway opens. And the rune of openings really offers us something quite profound in terms of new beginnings. The rune of constraint is interesting because it means that even though things are opening up for you, you do need to pay attention to the detail. So if something is opening, if your vision is opening up, if the revelations are opening up, you're still needing to pay attention to the details around you. Learn to say no, have strength in your own conviction. This is, as I said, this is about the re-establishment of your belief in yourself within relationship. Having the power to say no to somebody, being able to draw boundaries and navigate those boundaries, knowing where they come from if they are a bit intense, knowing that if your buttons are pressed, it shouldn't lock you down, it should invite you to have that voice. This is a very powerfully transformational reading. And we have this wonderful energy of swan grace. You who glide across the waters of my soul, bring me your wisdom and light. Help me transform into elegance and grace. Inspire me with dignity and the spirit of beauty. This is literally transformation to a space of empowerment. I do feel there's anxiety for some of you around feeling empowered to have a voice within relationship, but that has caused you in many ways to lock yourself down. The stuff that's happened to you in the past it's understandable, but it's time to shift some of that. It's time to let go of it. If you decide to be involved in any ceremony at all, I'm giving some webinars on manifesting with the moon. I will put the links in the information box below to those live webinars. They're scheduled, they're both in November. One I think is on the 6th or 7th and one at the end of November. The first one will be looking at the lunar cycles and the moon as she travels through the zodiac signs. In the second one, we will actually be looking at full moon and new moon, the power of the full moon and the power of the new moon, and how we can use ceremony and ritual to be able to literally transform our lives. And if I have time, I'll also touch on the 13 tribal moons. Now, those webinars are not live yet, but the pages are live and they're scheduled. So if you click on those links, you can bookmark the page so that it's there. And if you're on any of my email lists, I will be sending out an email reminder a couple of days before each of those webinars. So, wonderful friends, this is about love coming into your world. If it's an existing relationship where there's been a block, that block can be removed through clear communication, belief in yourself, and your ability to hold your own boundaries. If someone new is coming into your world, or you are seeking, if you're seeking love, I think someone new is coming in. I think, be prepared to be swept off your feet, but allow yourself to have that. If there are expectations that feel you can't hold your boundaries or you can't navigate this, well, yes, you can. It's time to believe in yourself and believe in that possibility. But the higher energy of love through relationship is coming your way. This is the real predominant card that is really coming into your world. And you're being offered an opportunity and the support of Archangel Gabriel, who is really, really with you to shift any previous patterns or history that are sitting within you, mind, body, soul, spirit, emotion, holding you back from being able to have this higher level of love and connection. So wonderful friends, Happy New Year, because this is love starting at the beginning of literally a new phase in the Earth's natural cycles. As I said, technically it is a new year, and your ancestors are there saying, have this, let go of the stuff that we had to carry, move beyond our limitations and have what is right, rightfully yours and right for you. Wonderful friends, tons and tons of love to you. Namaste. Welcome to reading number 2 with the wonderful healing energy of Archangel Raphael and this beautiful clear quartz angel. Clear quartz is often used for healing, actually. So let's have a look at our cards and we'll draw some runes as well. So we have the 2 of Pentacles. You need to find balance in something. Something is either out of balance or you're needing to re-establish balance in some way. Again, look at the card of Justice. Again, balance, again, weighing something up. Is there a question that you are needing to ask? Do you have a decision to make? 3 of Pentacles. The 3 of Pentacles suggests that collaboration of some sort is needed. We have the card Overcoming Difficulties, Archangel Jeremiah. We have Ram, Perseverance. This is so clear, so clear. So Ram, Perseverance, dislike of others, compromise, restore balance, and overcoming difficulties. Okay, this is a very, very interesting reading. Whatever is taking place in the uniqueness of your individual worlds, you're facing a dilemma, a weighing up of something. It involves having to navigate some people or someone that is actually quite challenging to you. That's around, but you are asked to persevere, and there is going to need to be a compromise, a collaboration in some way. I think by necessity, whatever you're navigating, you're needing, I think just by the very nature of it, whatever you are navigating, I think there's basically someone who's rather difficult involved, but there's no way around it. You know how it's a bit like if you're moving house, for example, and you know the people that you're hoping to exchange with or whatever, somebody's putting a spanner in the works, or they're making the process more difficult than it needs to be. But actually, to get to where you want to be, you've got to navigate and you've got to negotiate with them. So there's a need to kind of navigate through something and manage to kind of come to terms with the way they are behaving in a way that is going to not allow it to sort of energetically affect or influence you. The key here as well is about you remaining in balance, you being able to not be knocked off balance by somebody. You know, like when someone presses your buttons, it's like being able to get yourself recentered really, really quickly. It's quite interesting. Earlier in the week myself, I had a situation where something landed in my world really suddenly, and I was actually really, I have to admit, I was quite proud of myself, because the something that landed in my world actually did knock me off balance very, very suddenly. It threw me, and because it pressed quite a lot of buttons, that I guess the helpful thing was that I recognized it. I recognized the flavor, the intensity of the energy was pressing some buttons. And I kind of thought, you know, I often say this to other people, it's like, listen to my own words. They're my buttons. I need to go away and decide what I'm going to do and empower myself to decide how I'm going to do this. Most of all, I need to actually restore balance. I need to make sure that I keep my own energy clean and aligned with my own calling, my own purpose, my own process of manifestation. So I'm going to draw some runes. Okay, so our first rune is the rune of joy. This is you keeping hold of something here. We have the rune of harvest, which speaks of a period of a year. We then have the rune of openings. I knew that we would inevitably, the rune of openings appeared in reading 1. Whenever I'm called to draw the runes for each reading individually, we guarantee there'll be a rune that will show up more than once. Okay, so this is really interesting. These runes are giving a very clear flavour to the flow of energy here. I want to say, you know what you want. In terms of manifestation, you know what you're aiming for. And I feel like you guys, I kind of feel in terms of manifestation, it's like you're really getting there. You're really beginning to hold your energy well, know where you want to go, hold your direction. But, actually sometimes just stuff happens, doesn't it? Life happens. Stuff that is out of our control happens. And what we have to do is work out how to navigate it whilst keeping our own vibration high, whilst keeping our own energy clean. Now, you are having to balance things. You're having to weigh things up. You're having to make decisions. And I would say, collaboration is needed here. There are decisions that involve others. Get support from your friends as well. Get support from the people that you are close to. Get support from people who you resonate with, people who have your back, because there's definitely somebody in the pot of your world at the moment, in the stirring pot, who is a little bit challenging. But compromises are going to be needed simply to be able to navigate this with ease. Now, you're definitely on track. We have the card Ram, perseverance. You have many gifts. No problem can withstand the power of your mind. With patience, you can reach your mountaintop. Never give up, and good luck will follow. So you're on track. Archangel Jeremiah, you're overcoming difficulties. The worst is now behind you, and you are surmounting any previous challenges. I'm really seeing for some of you, there's been a lot of upheaval, or you're in that process of transition where you are in the beginning of establishing a new phase of life. Now, very, very interesting. We're in the tribal moon phase of Weaves the Web, the 10th moon phase. I've spoken about the 13 moon phases in the Art of Manifestation Astro-Moon journal. The diary does the sort of 12 months and the usual astrological sort of stuff, or the lunar stuff. But yeah, really, really interesting. Weaves the Web. During this moon cycle, right here, right now, we are shown how we are weaving the web. We're shown aspects of our own creative process, which means we're also sometimes shown the things that knock us off balance. And there's opportunity within that to think about how we navigate that. Dislike of others. This is a powerful card. It's telling me as well that there is someone in this navigation, or for some of you, even more than one person. I'm kind of seeing some people who are a little bit manipulative, if I'm truly honest. And it's kind of like, I think you navigate well around them with people like this by basically choosing not to bring them into your world, but actually you're having to deal with them. Circumstances are such that you have to deal with some people who are possibly not so straightforward. So healing, Archangel Raphael is bringing that healing energy in. I'll say a little bit more about that in a moment, because let's read this card first. Sometimes we form strongly negative feelings towards others. In truth, it is not them that we dislike, but their words, actions, and behaviour. This card asks you to try to detach from the experience of their behaviour and see them as a soul on their own unique pathway, attempting to manage their own challenging life lessons. Their life lessons, if they're being difficult, then their life lessons are difficult. The problem is that their difficulties are spilling out and affecting others, including you. Compromise. This is an interesting card because it swings in two ways. Are you in a situation where you need to make a compromise, or are you compromising too much? This card asks you to review your position and be sure to find a solution that takes the needs of all parties into account, including yourself. So really consider carefully how this is going to work. Now, Archangel Raphael, it's actually said that his energy sometimes comes through in the form of support and healing through a human being. It's like he flows through another human being. So watch out for someone who comes into your world who will offer you the support and guidance you need at this time. Someone who will help you to restore balance. If necessary, someone who will help you to cut cords, help you to remain clear and in your own high vibrational energy as you navigate this situation. There's just something going on around you. But hold your course, because you're actually on track. You know what you want. Keep your vision intact. I always think manifestation involves holding our vision whilst navigating sometimes stuff that just happens, and also navigating, actually the unexpected openings that sometimes come through difficulty. Sometimes the very thing we wanted bizarrely comes because something shows up. It's something that was unexpected. It might be difficult, and yet somehow we meet someone along the way who we would never have met if we hadn't been at that time, at that place, kind of thing. So there's something coming through here. And I am seeing a real fulfilled opportunity here for this new phase of life. The rune of harvest, again, patience, perseverance. You are at the beginning and in that transition into a space of the new. Persevere, keep your eyes on your targeted desires. The rune of openings is suggesting that doorways are going to open for you. Things are going to move forwards. The essence here is also to, restore balance. This card calls you to notice what kinds of situations, people and circumstances throw you off balance, and more importantly, what enables you to regain balance and re-center yourself. Noticing heightens your awareness and creates an opportunity for you to become proactive in maintaining your ongoing balance and inner harmony. When something throws us off balance, the key is noticing. There are stages, I think, of being able to navigate that kind of stuff, the off-balance stuff. We notice, which means we can press the pause button, which means we can step back, and it means that we can hold our mindset and shift our energy, cleanse, release. We can become compassionate towards others and just think, gosh, I wouldn't want to be them and I wouldn't want to be standing in their shoes for love nor money. Nothing would induce me to do that. How can I find a situation, a way forwards that will support everybody, including me? Really important here. Hold your vision though. You guys have something really clearly in your sights. Don't lose sight of it just because of the periphery stuff. I am seeing some aspect of manipulation around you. It's really interesting, the black obsidian, Apache tears here. There's a real strength in obsidian. It's like a stone of protection. It's a warrior stone. And I do feel there's something about needing to, open yourself to receive cleansing and healing. There are people around you who want to support you and will help you through the navigation of these choices and decisions that you're needing to do. Remain balanced. And carry protection with you. There's something about protecting the purity of your energy. If your buttons are pressed, not diving into the past, but allowing yourself to restore balance and move forwards. This is a very positive reading, actually. What I'm seeing is you're having to navigate some difficulties. And as I said, I think there's some really difficult people involved in this. Hold your course. In my my library, for those of you that don't know, I have a free library. It's called the A to Z of Emotional Health. Let's see if I can bring that up for you. Yes, the A to Z of Emotional Health, www.azemotionalhealth.com. Now, this is a library. It's completely free of charge. It was sort of my parting gift, actually, as I moved away from working full-time as a counsellor and psychotherapist. I wanted to create a website that would be free of charge. It's a membership site. Membership is free and always will be. It's full of videos, meditations, all kinds of stuff to help us to navigate emotionally with awareness. Some really interesting recordings and audios and conversations, just a ton of stuff there. Check it out if there are any issues emotionally for you when people press your buttons. There are some meditations as well, some sleep meditations, which help to release emotional tension and bring you back into balance. There's one particular one that is designed, you can play it all night long, it goes on for hours, and the frequency of the music cleanses, heals, releases and rebalances you. So it happens while you sleep. So do check out the meditation pages and look for those as well. They're on the YouTube channel here as well. So wonderful friends, let me move that, switch that off. It's just a resource that's out there for anyone that would like to use it. Wonderful friends, stay on track. You know, you're on course, and openings, doorways are going to open for you. So trust, allow, and just navigate this stuff, navigate these people, do it with integrity, and everything is going to flow. But whatever you do, don't lose sight of your desires, your intentions, your pathway, because you are on track. Just keep your vibration high. Wonderful friends, tons and tons of love to you. Oh, I was about to say a namaste, which I will say anyway. I have 2 webinars coming up in November. I'll put the links in the information box and the comments as well. They are about working with the lunar energy in terms of manifestation. The first one will be looking at the influence of the moon as she passes through the zodiac signs and her different phases, and in the second one we'll be looking at the 13 tribal moon cycles and how to work with ritual and ceremony for the full and new moons particularly. Hopefully we'll have time to touch on the tribal moons, but yeah, we are currently in this weaves the web 10th moon cycle. So very powerful time where we're often shown situations, stuff comes into our lives where our buttons are pressed, but actually the purpose of that is so that we release those, we release the empowerment that sometimes gets given to others, and we shift our position through changing our perspectives. Wonderful friends, tons and tons of love. Don't forget to check in on those webinars if you want to tune in with them, and if you bookmark the pages, then you'll kind of have them easily to hand when they go, because they're not yet live but they are scheduled. And if you're on any of my email lists, then I will send out an email just a few days before as a reminder, and I'll put a link to join the email lists in the information box below as well. Tons and tons of love to you. Welcome, wonderful friends, to reading number 3. Let's have a little look at our cards. We have the incredible energy of Archangel Michael with this amethyst angel. Okay, so we have the Empress. This is a card of gestation, as you can see, a card of pregnancy. You're bringing something forth into the world. 2 of Wands. I want to say hold your vision. Hold your vision. 21, the World. There's going to be a completion of some sort. Something's going to arrive at a space of completion. So whatever you're working with is going to arrive at a space of completion, and I think it's going to create an opportunity for a new beginning. Sea Otter, happiness. Be the master of playful living. Release expectations and enjoy every day. Let worry go and instead choose love. Surrender to the waves. Your good destiny of love is sure. Take a risk. Take your time. Difficult emotions, sensitivity. I feel like you are being pulled and pushed a bit here. It's like really, gosh, you're on the verge of something. That's what this is really speaking to me about. And you are, we'll draw runes again in a moment. You're on the verge of something. It's literally about to burst forth. And it's almost as if you you want it, but you don't. Or you're not sure what steps to take. You know, do you take action or don't you? And I think there's almost, I want to sort of say, I hope, please don't hear this wrongly, but I want to say get out of your own way in some way. It's like get out of your own head. Don't overthink this. This is about to burst forth. You do need to take a risk. And this is really interesting because it feels paradoxical. Take a risk and yet take your time. But it's to do with, it's actually really, really clear. take a risk is saying, look, you're embarking on something that involves really big new beginnings, and it's about to burst forth. So yes, take a risk, you know, join that club, go on that date, write that book, you know, do whatever it is that you have been longing to do. Archangel Michael, courage, increasing, overcoming your fears, overcoming procrastination, initiative, action, moving mountains. So you're being asked here, or offered an opportunity and a support to really, really go for it. Take that risk, step out of your comfort zone. Feeling safe and secure is a wonderful experience, but if we remain in our safe zone for fear of change, we create a limiting and restrictive environment that can ultimately lead to stagnation and the loss of our creative potential to manifest our greatest contribution in the world. Let go of fear and take a risk. Okay, so very powerful card. Take a risk. Something's about to burst forth. But also take your time. It's not an all or nothing. You know, when we step out of our comfort zone, it's small steps, you know, can win the race. We don't have to launch ourselves in at the deep end. In fact, that's a good analogy, I think. If you were wanting to learn to swim, yes, take a risk, go join a swimming club, but you don't have to just jump in at the deep end, you know, without armbands. You don't. That's not how we learn. It's not how we do things. We learn slowly and gradually. So take your time, remove pressure from yourself. I'm actually being shown that the energy of opportunity is around you, and it's going to happen anyway. Your desires are going to, it's literally, I'm seeing a lotus flower opening. Your desires are going to open. This period of gestation is going to emerge. But don't be in a rush. It's like, enjoy the journey. I will read this in a moment, but let's first of all look at difficult emotions. This card asks you to listen to your emotions. Every emotion we have is necessary and important to us, even the challenging ones. Difficult feelings are letting you know that something is not okay. Learn to understand and love your emotions and discover how they serve you. It's a really clear message attached to this card associated with these. Take your time, slow down. If you are feeling under pressure, whether in response to a situation or the demands of another person, or from pressure that you are placing on yourself, this card asks you to slow down and take time to evaluate before reaching a conclusion, making a decision, or committing yourself. So whatever the context of your personal world, something is emerging. It's about to birth into the world, and birth it's going to do. It's a bit like, if you think of the process of birth itself, you know, we don't push all of the time. Any mum will tell you, you know, there are periods when we breathe. You know, contractions come every now and then, and they get quicker and quicker, and then we birth. But actually, there are times to breathe, there's times to slow down. No amount of pushing will work if we're going against the tide, as it were, going against the natural process of movement. So you are being asked to step out of your comfort zone and take a risk. You're also being asked to evaluate, and this is where this message comes in with difficult emotions. What I'm being shown is that whatever you are birthing into the world, historically, some stuff has been difficult before. It's left you with a real sensitivity. So I'll use the example of relationship. It doesn't have to be about relationship. It could be a job or any situation, whatever it is. There's something about rejection around in this reading as well, or you know. And again, if you were, I say relationship, but if you were involved in a creative project and it didn't work out, it's like it's left you feeling very sensitive, and therefore it's like stepping out and taking a risk feels really vulnerable. Now we can interpret vulnerability as being a negative thing. So we step into a place, we try something new, or we're prepared to take a risk, And then we step out there, and because we feel vulnerable, we think, oh, this isn't okay, I feel bad, therefore I shouldn't be doing it. We're needing to understand that emotions are important. They're part of our navigational system. They help us to know and to tackle and to understand how to navigate from a position of empowerment. So take your time, evaluate. If you're stepping into an unknown situation, you're trying something on for size. If you've met someone, if you're starting a new job, whatever it is, if you're trying something out, try it out and listen to the way that you feel. Okay, because the way that you feel will help you to fine-tune that journey, to fine-tune the situation, or to know that that particular situation isn't right for you. I wrote a book called Mindfulness Meets Emotional Awareness, and in that book you can get extracts from that book from my library, which is www.azemotionalhealth.com. It's just a completely free resource. It's a membership site, but membership is free and always will be. There's some audios on there, there's some meditations about understanding emotions. Mindfulness Meets Emotional Awareness will talk you through all of our most difficult emotions and teach you how to use them as a source of empowerment. I mean, the emotion that's coming to mind is disappointment. If we've been disappointed, let down, we can use that experience to entrench us into a sort of a retreat and a safe zone and be fearful of taking a risk. Actually, disappointment is a really interesting emotion. It asks us to put the brakes on and to evaluate, because if somebody disappoints us, we need to stop and look at that. I can honestly say in my own experience, I definitely years ago had a relationship where it was so disappointing. There was lots of disappointment after disappointment, and instead of listening to that, I just kept going back for more. Actually, after 2 or 3 disappointments and an inability to navigate or negotiate into a better space of resolution, I should have just recognized we were not compatible. We were not singing from the same page. But instead, I kind of persevered. Actually, if I'd left earlier, it would have been a lot better. So, that disappointment is actually, when we understand it, a really good emotion. So this is asking you to understand your emotions. It is inviting you to take a risk and to move forwards. Also, not to take yourself so seriously. Don't take everything so seriously. Have fun doing this and know that you can take your time. If you take a risk, there's something about not being fully committed. It's like being committed to the journey and to your own happiness. You are extra sensitive, so honor yourself and your feelings. Archangel Haniel, you are extra sensitive to energies and emotions right now. Honor yourself and your feelings. The emergence is coming. The completion and the opening and the new beginnings are coming. You're just being asked to evaluate along the way. Use every experience as an opportunity to fuel your pathway and give you greater clarity. And lean on Archangel Michael for strength, for perseverance, for courage, and for increasing empowerment. Let's draw some runes. It's interesting, we have the rune of joy, we have the rune of strength. This is lovely. The rune of joy has shown up in one of the other readings as well. A couple of the runes have shown up twice now. So I always know if I'm called to use the runes and draw them for each reading, there's always purpose to this. And we have the rune of openings. This has actually shown up in every single reading, which is really interesting because openings it's doorways opening. And of course, at this pivotal time of shift and change, doorways will open. Now, the rune of joy is telling me, again, whatever you are manifesting, you're on track. Keep your happiness in mind and be the master of playful living. Release expectations. Don't be afraid. Enjoy every day. Let go of worry and instead choose love. Surrender to the waves. Your good destiny of love is sure. this is emerging, it's coming, it's happening. Just take your time and navigate your own emotions as a source of empowerment. I must just remove that because it's sitting bang in the middle of our cards here. Now, the rune of joy, it literally is out of darkness into light, carried across the gap by the wings of heaven. It's a new dawn, a new beginning. Your energy is good. The rune of strength always tells me that you're on track. It's the universe has your back. The changes, transitions that you're involved in are purposeful. They are right for you. They are aligned with calling and purpose. And doorways are going to open. Direction, clarity of direction will be found. This is a very, very empowered reading. But there's a little bit of needing to learn to navigate your emotions through this, needing to hold your empowerment, needing to both simultaneously take a risk, step out of your safe zone, and yet simultaneously take your time and navigate with gentleness around yourself. You are sensitive. You're especially sensitive at the moment. Some of you have had some real challenges to face and you are emerging from those. But everything here is about your happiness and your well-being and, you know, bringing love into your life and success and abundance. Everything here is emerging in such a powerfully good way. So keep looking ahead. Know when to breathe, know when to push. Align yourself again, tune in with the natural rhythms and cycles of our beautiful moon. You know, it's an amazing way of living when you begin to align with the lunar cycles and know how they affect you. I will be giving, as some of you will already know this, I'm giving 2 free webinars in November about working with the lunar energy, about manifesting with the moon. In the first one, we're looking at the moon as she journeys through the zodiac signs and the cycles, the phases of the moon and how they affect us, how we can use that energy and learn to develop a really personal relationship with the lunar energy. And the second webinar is I'm going to focus on the full and the new moons using ritual ceremony in our process of manifestation. And I'll also be touching on the 13 tribal moons. I actually, again, when I was preparing, we have 13 candles here. These are representative of the 13 moon cycles of the year. The tribal moons, for me, working with that energy was an absolute revelation in terms of manifestation and my own well-being. Really keeping my own energy clean, high, good, targeting my intentions and knowing that I could hold course. So very, very powerful stuff. The links, I'll put them to those webinars. They're not live yet, but I'll put them in the information box below. You can join us live on the day then, because they will be live webinars, and the recordings will then be up, I think, until about the end of the year. So bookmark the pages, then you'll be able to access them live, or if the timing isn't right for you, you can watch them afterwards. Very, very exciting times. So wonderful, friends. Yeah, this is a beautiful reading. It's time to emerge. It's like you're coming out of a chrysalis state. The universe has your back. Lean on Archangel Michael for courage, strength, perseverance. You can move mountains. This really is a time of increasing empowerment for you, where something very beautiful and lovely is emerging. And yeah, enjoy the journey. Don't be so fixated on the goal that you miss the process, because again, if you miss the process, you can't navigate from a space of empowerment. We have to be present as well as holding our vision of the future, and you are sensitive, so just look after your sensitivity. Live the life you love. The universe has your back. Wonderful friends, tons and tons of love to you, and yeah, I hope to see you either next week for the weekly readings or for those live webinars, manifesting with the moon. Tons of love to you. Namaste. Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining me for this video where I'm going to talk about the Art of Manifestation Astro-Moon Diary and Journal for 2022. This is the 3rd year of the diary, and I think it's honestly taken me 3 years to really feel that I've got the formula how I want it, to really give you the right information in the right way to be able to use the lunar energy in terms of basically enhancing your everyday quality of life. When we really understand how the lunar energy affects us, we really can learn to align with the natural rhythms and cycles of life. It has honestly enhanced my own quality of life so much. So it's really so exciting to be able to share this with you. Now, in this video, I'm going to first of all talk about the Art of Manifestation Astro-Moon Diary. It's a little bit different in its formula this year. So those of you who are already using it, you'll see some key differences as I go through this. This is really all about giving you much more readily available and accessible information about the different phases of the moon. So you can align your diary and your calendar with them, and really develop a deeply personal relationship with the moon herself and with the lunar cycles. The journal is different again. I'll then in a moment look at the journal after the diary. In the journal, I have shared this year a lot of information about the tribal moon cycles and with the Celtic moon cycles. For me, I've been working with these really closely for the last year, and I have to say they've blown me away in terms of how they have enhanced my ability to really understand how to consciously work with this energy. So the journal is very different to the diary. It contains very different information. It has 13 sections, all connected in with the lunar cycles of the 13 tribal moons and the 13 Celtic moon understandings. There's also in the journal sections on detailed new moon and full moon wishes, intentions and ceremonies. So it's a very different book. You can use them together or you can use them completely independently of each other. Lastly, what I'm going to do is then talk about a Kindle edition that we have created, and also a PDF that you can download onto your phone. Now, this has come about because not everybody uses a paper diary, you know, an actual real diary. Lots of people use online diaries these days. But they still want that information. They still want the lunar information. So this year we have created a Kindle version, which is due to be launched on the 1st of October, very excitingly. And also my colleague James is going to upload into our store a PDF version, which you can actually put onto your phone. So I'll speak about that as well. It means you can really access all of the information you need from either, you know, the diary, the journal, plus more, literally at your fingertips. So really exciting. There's exciting changes. There are exciting differences in this year's diary and journal, and as I said, plus these additional ways of accessing the information, so you can literally carry it around with you if you don't want to walk around with a hard copy. So wonderful friends, without further ado, let's talk about the Art of Manifestation Astro-Moon Diary 2022. The first part of this diary contains just shed loads of information. It's basically all the information you're going to need to be able to connect and understand how to use the incoming lunar energy to enhance the quality of your daily living, how to build a relationship with the lunar energy and know how it directly affects you. This section of general information starts with a page that runs through the process and natural cycle of manifestation, the art of manifestation. We then also have a page that tells you all about how to use this diary. We go on to look at the different phases of the moon, what they mean and how to use them. And then the influence of the different zodiac signs, and also the void of course moon. Sometimes the moon moves from one zodiac sign straight into the next, but sometimes she sits in a space in between, which is known as the void of course moon. It's very helpful to understand the influence of this and how it might affect you. We then have a section on solar and lunar eclipses, along with the dates for 2022. And then the planets in retrograde, again with all the dates for the year of 2022. And lastly, in this general section of information, we have information about the natural turning of the seasons and the earth festivals. We then get to the actual diary part of the diary. Each month begins with a rundown of the overall energy, with additional guidance from the Art of Manifestation Oracle cards and the runes. We then move into a whole new section, which has not been featured in the diaries before. I go through each of the key moon phases in terms of manifestation and give you a little bit of information for each one as to how the overall energy might be affecting you. We then move into the monthly diary pages. Now you'll see that the same moon phases are also highlighted, so it will be very easy for you to check in on the different moon phases and the astrological information and the lunar information to support you in navigating your week and in navigating your diary. The week to view pages also have an area for you to make notes so that you can jot down the way that the lunar energy is actually affecting you personally. This way you'll actually be able to build a really clear awareness of how the moon phases and the energy of the different zodiac signs actually affects and influences you personally. This pattern follows all the way through the diary, month by month, throughout the year. Let's now talk about the journal. I have to say I am so excited about the journal this year because it's really very, very different to the diary. And as I was saying at the beginning of the video, learning about the tribal moon phases, the 13 tribal moons and the Celtic connections just blew me away. It really, really opened up such a whole level of learning for me that has transformed actually so many areas of my life that I really wanted to share my experiences with you. And so that's exactly what I have done in the journal. The journal begins with a general section of information. We begin by looking at the art of manifestation, the cycle and the phases of this, as well as a section on how to use the journal. We then look at working with the tribal and the Celtic moons, along with the listings of these 13 moon cycles. There's then detailed information about the new and full moon cycles, the moon in the zodiac signs, the void of course moon, the solar and the lunar eclipses, and the planets in retrograde for 2022. We also look at the solstices, equinoxes, and the festivals of the earth. And now we get to the really exciting bit. We go through each of the moon phases, the tribal and Celtic moon phases throughout the year. There are 13 sections with detailed information. There's also detailed information about the new moon, along with room to write down your new moon wishes and your new moon intentions. There's a difference between the two, and I've written about those in the general information at the beginning of the journal. There's also space for you to have detailed information about the full moon, understand how best to connect with that energy, along with space to journal your reflections. Each of the 13 sections of the journal has ordinary journaling pages, both lined and clear. So lastly, let's just talk about the Kindle version, which is going to be launched on the 1st of October, and the PDF that my colleague James is going to put up into our store. Now, the idea of the PDF is that literally, if you want to download this information and have it on your phone, you can access it at your fingertips at any time, as long as you obviously have your phone with you. The Kindle variety is very much there for the same purpose, to allow people who use electronic devices as a diary to access all of the information available without having to pick up and look at either the diary or the journal. So let's have a look at the information. We'll have a quick glance at the table of contents so that you can see exactly what's included in these two different ways of accessing all of this lunar information. As you can see in the table of contents, there is tons and tons of information here. Different to both the diary and the journal, I have actually written a welcome to 2022 with an overview of the energy flow throughout the year. And this is quite an interesting piece of writing. So if you're really wanting to just tune in with that, please do so anyway. At some point, I will post a video about this and probably read it out and stick it onto YouTube. Now, The Kindle and the PDF have general information, the art of manifestation, the monthly moon phases, the 13 tribal and Celtic moon phases, the moon and the zodiac signs, the void of course moons, solar and lunar eclipses, retrogrades, and the earth festivals. So this is general information. There is then monthly information where we literally go through the daily moon placements, the key moon phases, the overview that actually comes from the diary with the oracle card and rune guidance. We've also got sections that give you the information about the tribal and Celtic moon phases as well. So there is a ton of different ways to access this information. Now, lastly, but not leastly, I am going to be doing a series of live webinars where I will be talking about how to manifest with the moon. Now, we haven't scheduled them yet. I anticipate either one a month or one every 3 weeks, but we're certainly going to do several and at varying times so that hopefully wherever you are in the world, you can access them live and get involved in the Q&A part of the webinar. All of those webinars will also be available. They will be recorded and they will be available for anyone at any time. So if you want to get notification of the webinar dates as soon as I post them, or indeed to watch any of the recordings, do make sure that you subscribe, press the little bell icon, then that should come through into your stream. Now, I have to say, I really don't understand how the algorithms of YouTube work. So if for some reason you're not getting notifications through, it would be really, really worth being on one of my email lists, because I will email out those dates and those links as well. Now, what I will do in this, in any of the videos that I post this onto, I'll put a link in the information box below to join our monthly subscriber offer. I give away a free private reading every month. I give away a pack of the Art of Manifestation Oracle cards. And at the moment, right now until 2022, I'm going to be giving away a journal and a diary every month as well, and they are signed copies. So if you would like to join that monthly prize draw, that's probably quite a good email list to be on, and I will email as soon as we have those webinar dates. So it's worth being on one of our email lists somewhere. I'll put the link to that in the information box below and also in the comments for phone users. Wonderful friends, thank you for joining me. I hope you found this information useful, interesting, and I really look forward to seeing you at the webinars when we are really going to get very real and very hands-on about how to manifest with the moon, how to engage with the lunar cycles in ways that really enhance our lives in every possible way. Wonderful friends, tons and tons of love to you. Namaste.